Hey, everybody. I am Eric J. Olson, your host for this episode of the Managing Partners podcast. In this podcast series, we interview America's top managing partners to find out how they're running their law firms, how they're growing their law firms, and how they are keeping their case pipeline full. And today I have with me Rocco Cozza. Hey, Rocco.
Hey, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing great. Well, appreciate your time. Let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Rocco is the founder of the Cozza Law Group. He has practiced law since 2003. During this time, he has advised hundreds of businesses and business owners across the country on a wide array of matters. He also advises early stage startups in funding matters and spent 13 years as general counsel of an international information technology firm. Rocco, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You got it. Well, first, could you tell the audience a little bit more about you that's not in the bio and about your firm, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've obviously been practicing law quite a long time. We're in the business, entertainment, and cannabis law space. I myself have been an entrepreneur my entire career. So outside of the law, I actually own or co-own quite a few other businesses. So I bring a really different perspective to the practice of law with our clients. I also have an MBA, father of 3 amazing kids. Our firm, when I created the firm, I wanted to build something different. I came out of law school. I worked in big law. I went in-house. So I saw the way things were done in big law firms. I saw what companies struggled with working with outside lawyers. So when I started this firm, I really wanted to create a different law firm model. And we've just kind of carved out our niche in the business space. And we've grown exponentially over the past 3 years. And it's been a phenomenal ride. We've been having a blast doing it.
That's incredible. Good for you. So you spent some time in big law. What was that like for someone like you, entrepreneur, MBA? Did it drive you crazy?
Yeah, it was hard. It was great because I got a really good training ground, and a couple of the partners I worked with as a summer associate and through law school taught me a ton about being a lawyer. But I understood there was a hierarchy. There was a process you had to go through, and you couldn't really carve your own path. And I've kind of always been this rebel, this entrepreneur. So I wanted the opportunity to really be able to create my own path. So when I went from big law to in-house, I got a taste of the other side. I got to see what corporate law was like, what working in a big corporation was, and I saw the downfall of that. So I kind of took those 2 experiences and said, okay, how do I create something completely different that's going to attract the right lawyers and the right clients? And that's what I think we're doing.
Yeah, that's great. There's certainly a lot of takeaways. I've been in a similar position as you, as far as working for bigger companies and starting my own. And it always drove me crazy working for a bigger company because it was just not fast enough.
Yeah,
there's a lot of opportunities. Right. Yeah, a lot of opportunities when you start your own firm to do something a little bit different. But then bring in that experience. And how big are you? How many attorneys or staff?
So we have 4 attorneys right now, and then we have 2 other staff members, and we're actually we're anticipating growth into next year. I have a couple of job ads out right now for another assistant and a paralegal. So I would say by mid next year, we'll probably have 10 total staff.
Yeah, good for you. And it's interesting because like you, I assume like you, I want something different than big law. I'm a marketer, so for me it was just big company, but. So when you start the firm, you have a different vision, but then as you grow, you're like, well, we actually need like some process and some people and responsibilities. And so there's a balance, right, between like, doing the entrepreneurial thing and actually the rigor and processes that come with big law or big companies.
And that's actually an interesting point. So that's a struggle we're going through right now. Like we've had a huge growth spurt this year. We grew, 2019 to 2020, we grew 120 some percent. We're on pace to grow another 80% this year. So, we have good processes in place. I'm learning myself that I need to be a better leader and learn a different type of management style and really start carving out a different path, because it does, like you said, I'm an entrepreneur, so I can kind of go off on these tangents where I know, okay, we actually have a big firm now that I have to learn to manage differently. So it's a constant struggle. It's a constant evolution. I'm constantly educating myself. I work with a phenomenal business coach at help. So there's a lot to it.
See, that's another interesting point is working with a business coach. And you said early on in the interview, you're very business minded. You work with business owners and businesses, and it seems to be a theme that I'm picking up on with many managing partners from these interviews, from books that I'm reading from managing partners. It's not just about running the law firm, but it's about running the business of a law firm.
Absolutely. I always, when I have a lot of friends that have their own firms that I went to law school with, and I always say, even when we hire people, I said, there's two types of lawyers in the type of practice we are. There are lawyers that practice law, and there's entrepreneurs that sell legal services. We are the latter. So I run this like a business, right? I look at marketing, business development, branding. That's kind of our focus. That's how we've grown so much. The legal services that's just what we sell. That's our product, right? And we have to, have an unbelievable client experience. We have to, do top-notch work. But if I'm not looking at it as a business first, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's creating the culture, creating those systems, creating those processes that support an actual business.
Great points. In your bio, it says that you've advised hundreds of businesses and owners across the country. Are you licensed to practice in multiple states? How does it work?
So we're licensed in Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, Florida, and I have my Tennessee license pending. A lot of what we do, because it's transactional, if there's some relation to either one of the states we practice in or the states that they're located in, there's a lot of states that have like reciprocity, right? Where you can do transactional work in that state if what you're doing in that state wouldn't violate the ethics laws of your own state or a state you're licensed in. So and again, with the internet and the way the law has changed, I think these ethics rules are going to evolve over the next 5 years, because it's almost impossible to prevent attorneys that do what we do from practicing across state lines. It really is. In a transactional matter, it's almost impossible.
Yeah.
So we've had the opportunity to work with a really great group of clients, large our client base is from startups. So, we have a couple of Fortune 100 companies we work with. So we've had the opportunity to work in a lot of different spaces, which has given us a large, landscape of experience to work from.
That's excellent. Yeah. Usually it seems like most law firms are focused either in one or two states, or they work at the federal level. And so they're nationwide, but it seems to be rare where they're actually licensed, to practice in multiple states. And is the goal to expand to many more?
That's the goal. So I'm trying to right now pick and choose the states. One that, because I've been practicing so long, I can just wave in with reciprocity, right? So I don't have to take an exam. Like one of my associates, he just took the Florida bar exam and passed it this summer, so he's licensed there. So our goal is to get into as many states as possible where we see opportunity. Like Tennessee is the one that's pending right now because we're in the entertainment space. I've worked on deals for clients that have a deal going on in Tennessee. I just saw an opportunity down there with the way the lawyers down there were practicing. I just see a different pricing model that we can approach the market with. So I'm just waiting on that license to get approved so we can start advertising down there.
How are you picking these states? Are you kind of following individual opportunities or individual clients, and now all of a sudden you're exposed to a new state, and
that's pretty much that we saw so a lot of Pennsylvania, right? That's where we're based. A lot of our clients have summer home or winter homes in Florida, have businesses in Florida. So that's why we chose Florida. West Virginia, right south of us, that's there. Tennessee, we saw the opportunity in the entertainment space. New York, I was working on a deal. I saw opportunity there. So we're kind of where the opportunities take us is where we end up going when it comes to licensing.
Nice. That's really cool. Good for you with expanding to all those states.
Yeah. So it's fun, definitely.
In most law firms, and I would think especially in business law, new clients come from doing good work and referrals. I'm sure that's the same for you. Besides that, are there other techniques that you use in your marketing to get new clients?
Yeah, so I would say referrals, they used to be a large portion of our client acquisition. It's become less. Now we've been doing Google Ads, which we've had success with. We've done a lot of setting up networking events. So setting up events for our clients and potential clients, not for the purpose of us getting business, but to connect them together, what ends up just coming back to us. So we kind of saw this need where clients were coming to us saying, hey, can you connect us with so-and-so? Or do you know someone that can do this? So we just started holding these events. Say, let's get everybody in a room. You guys talk. And the business came from that. And I've done a lot on social media. That's where I've generated quite a bit of business on, Facebook, through Instagram. And I just started a TikTok page to put out, small, legal tip videos. And people joke about it, but I probably generated a couple 100,000 in business just from Instagram alone. Wow. Just by sharing what we do, like our story and our personality. So people tend to work with us, and the common theme we hear from clients is they like us because we're relatable. We're like good people. They like who we are. We don't seem like the typical lawyers. And we do that through social media, right? I share my kids. I share my life, the ups and the downs. And then people see the realness behind that, and it ends up attracting the right type of clients.
I think on social media, that's important to show your whole self. And one of the nice things about Instagram in particular is there's kind of almost like two sides of Instagram. There's your feed, which is kind of like that polished look. And then there's stories. And with stories, you can post anything. I mean, I'll take a screenshot right now, right? And that'll go up on stories. And I'll tag you, right? And so it's super easy. It's very quick, right? So I'm going to take a picture right now after I flip the camera around. And then so there's the picture. And then what I'll do is afterwards I'll just look you up and I'll tag you, right? And so it's super simple. It's not that was not polished at all. But that's actually the expectation on things like stories. So you can put things up there like, maybe your kids, you don't want to be up there forever, but you can kind of show behind the scenes, maybe getting ready for a podcast after a podcast, all those kinds of things. It's really, really interesting. I used to use Twitter for that. Just like quick hits. But the video and the photo and the music and everything with stories is really, really interesting.
And honestly, TikTok, like I read a statistic a few months ago that I think it was 18 to 45-year-old business owners are on TikTok than Instagram. So I started looking on there, and there's not many lawyers on. There's a few that are doing stuff. I mean, I just started really last week, I would say, really pushing hard at it. I went from a few followers. I think I'm almost at 800 right now in a few days. And just trying to, just by putting up videos and just sharing like, hey, the difference between a copyright and a trademark. Here's things to think about if you're forming an LLC. Just quick 1 to 2 minute videos, but people appreciate the education. And there's a niche there, I think, and there's a need for it. But a lot of lawyers are afraid to put themselves out there. Good for you. And look, my guess is you're not doing like the latest dance or anything like that. No, definitely not. No, absolutely. You're basically just talking to the camera, and maybe walking around the office while you're doing that. It's really actually pretty simple, and you can also repurpose a lot of the videos that you probably took for Instagram. Exactly, that's exactly what we do. Yep, I'll put it on my story. I'll share them at different times as reels. I mean, people don't understand the power of social media, and it's free. It's free. That's the key. I mean, I know how much business I've generated from platforms, and it's just like any lawyer that's asked me, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I tell them just pick a social media platform, get really good at it, and just the business will come. But you have to give it time. You can't expect it to happen in 30 days. But there's so much potential out there. Yeah. Are you familiar with Law by Mike? How do I know that? Lawyer on TikTok, 5.5 million. Fans or followers. That's where I saw it. Okay, because it rung a bell. Highly produced, 5.5 million. The last time I checked, which was probably about a month ago. Wow. And I think 500,000 on Instagram. I mean, he's clearly doing a lot of production. I'm sure it's time consuming, but I also would imagine it's batched. And then exactly. So you set aside a day, and then you do your marketing for a day. But then things like stories, you can work that into your day. You don't need to set aside time. So it's not that people need to set aside a ton of time to let their audience know or remember that they exist. You can work just like I did, work it in, right? Exactly. Yeah. Well, good for you. 800 followers in 3 days. That's getting there. Impressive. Thank you. How are you handling that? Are you doing it like all yourself? You have someone in the firm? Yeah, so that type of stuff. So my Instagram and TikTok I handle myself. Like I do all that myself because I haven't got to the point where I need to produce it yet. We have a part-time marketing coordinator. So she handles my LinkedIn, our firm LinkedIn, and then our firm Facebook page. And then she also does community outreach. Like we do a lot of like sponsorships, nonprofit work. We just go out and sponsor like different events. And then she also sets up client events for us. Then I have another company that we work with that does all of our digital ads, like our Google ads and our Bing ads. But a lot of the stuff eventually, like moving into next year, I'd like to find a part-time just content creator to come in the office and take photos and take video, just the stuff that I know we should be doing, we don't always think to do. But the stuff like my Instagram and my TikTok, I handle myself. And it's easy. I mean, I'll take an hour one evening, shoot 3 or 4 videos, save them in the drafts, and then now I have a video to post over the next 4 days. And I repurpose them on Instagram.
I do the same thing. And, I recently just got into Reels in Instagram, and the reach there is incredible compared to, like with the stories and posts, you're only going to reach your audience. And it's going to be very hard for someone to find you on Instagram. Yes. But with Reels, it's almost all people that you aren't following. Yeah. And so it seems to us like it's kind of the last bastion of discoverability in Instagram.
I agree.
And that's all that TikTok is. That's the only thing.
Yep, absolutely.
That's really interesting. Good for you. Well, cool. What is something that you used to do in your marketing that really isn't working that well, or maybe even stop doing?
Blogs, honestly. I used to do a lot more blog posts and writing blog posts, trying to make them SEO friendly. It helped us a lot when we rebuilt our site about 1.5 years ago. But I'm realizing that there's only so much blog content you can create, and people have moved to video. They want quick information, quick format. So blogs, like I was probably doing 3 a month. Now we're doing maybe 1 a month, 1 every other month. And just because I don't see necessarily the value in it as much as I used to.
When you were doing that, were you like how were you figuring out keywords?
I was using I think it's called Uber Suggest was one of the sites I would look to use. And then I had another, it was I think it was called Web Text Tool. It was like a paid service where you could type in keywords, it would give you kind of a ranking for it. Then you'd write the actual blog post in the software. So it would tell you how to make it 100% SEO friendly.
Oh, nice.
More keywords, more H1 tags. So I got really good on the technical side of it, but it would just take time. And I'm not seeing the benefit as much as I am from the other things we're doing.
There you go. Gotcha. Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So, we talked about, maybe adding a few more people to your staff, expanding to other states. Are there other kinds of growth plans that you have in mind? Do you have goals?
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about this morning, actually, going into next year. We have a large goal for revenue next year, and we want to. So we kind of have 3 buckets of clients. We say, our first bucket is really the startup transactional matters. The second bucket is, they're probably the 1 to 15 million revenue companies that need legal help, but not on a consistent basis, right? They're like one-off projects. The third bucket are a handful of large clients that are consistent billable work. We want to try and move more into that space. Instead of having that be 25% of our revenue, make that 35 to 40% next year. So it's going to be going out and doing a little bit more networking, deeper networking, going and leveraging connections we already have. So that's kind of the plan for next year. And then just getting my team out. Like one thing that we do differently here is I don't incentivize. They get incentives for clients, but I don't incentivize them on billable hours. They get incentivized. We have quarterly competitions based upon their marketing initiatives. They get points for going out and networking with people, going out and setting up referral meetings, going to events, writing blog posts, doing videos. So if they meet certain levels of points, then they get a quarterly bonus. So that, again, the more they do that, the more it's just going to get they're going to build their own brand within the firm. So it helps them bring in clients as well. So we have a lot of big goals for next year, and we're very marketing and branding first firm, I would say.
Good for you. Do you have a growth percentage that you want to share?
Yeah, we'd like to go. We blew our number away this year, so I would like to grow about another 60 to 70% next year.
Strong. I like that a lot.
I think we can do it because we've been consistent. Like I said, 120 some last year. We're going to be about 80% this year. So I think, we can do 60 to 70 next year in growth.
Very strong. Very strong. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, if somebody out there would like to reach out to you, ask you about TikTok or anything else, what's a good way to connect with you?
Well, they can definitely go to our website. It's just cozzalaw.com, or they can feel free to email me directly. My email address is just rcozza, first initial last name, @cozzalaw.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Awesome, Rocco. Thanks so much. All right, everybody. If you would like to check out other episodes like this, you can go to arraylaw.com/podcast. Each episode is tagged by practice area and by state, so you can find exactly what you're looking for very quickly. And if you're looking for digital marketing for your law firm, my company, Array Digital, focuses exclusively on law firms. We offer websites, SEO, online advertising, and social media, but not TikTok yet. All right, Rocco, thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.